we consistently pay back 10% of profits to our shareholders. So as profits grow, the increase in dividend to our shareholders grow. And I think that's the fair way of doing it. We have got no interest in doing share buybacks, etc., simply because at this point in time we're a growing business and growth requires capital. If we weren't growing, then you would actually be buying back. But we're not in that negative position. We're still accelerating the business, and we can see real good distribution and opportunity going forward.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. Joining me in the studio today, Douglas Grant, the CEO of Manx Financial Group. Douglas, thanks for coming in. Nice to speak with you.
Thank you for the invite. Looking forward to this.
So, Douglas, you've posted record results for 2024, 41% jump in profits. What were the key drivers behind the performance, and do you think it's sustainable?
You've got to step back slightly and look at the group. I mean, there's three main drivers within the subsidiaries within the group. The first one is Qantas the Bank. It's got a banking licence in the Isle of Man, goes back to 1935. It's the same banking licence as HSBC, Barclays, etc. So on the island there's also 40 billion of deposits. There's only 11 banks, so there's always plenty of liquidity. We coupled that up with a banking licence in the UK back in the tail end of 2023, which we've now been using. So the group has great sources of liquidity. It's almost got too much liquidity or access to it. But like all good financial institutions, there's no point having cheap liquidity if you can't deploy it. And that's really where the other businesses come in. We acquired the outstanding shareholding in Payment Assist at the back end of September last year. Now we own 100% of that. It's a big driver in the profit numbers. But it lent about 180 million last year. It'll do 222, 25 this year. So it's got great growth potential. And then the third arm to the growth story is Manx Ventures Limited, which is our entrepreneurial subsidiary within the group. It owns, I think it's 13 investments. We've done 13 investments, either whole or part in companies in financial services, operating markets that we really like within the last 12 years. So those are the three strands that are driving the business, and those are also the three strands that have got the potential to continue the growth within the business.
Douglas, you're also expanding into new markets like mortgages, and you're seeking a consumer credit license in Ireland. What's the growth strategy behind that regional push?
If we take the Isle of Man, which is our home market, we're an Isle of Man domiciled group. The Isle of Man, we lend about $1 million a week on the Isle of Man. That loan book is about 100 million. It's incredibly granular. The average deal size is £7,000. So what that gives you is a great spread. So you're not focused in on or relying on the economy doing well in one aspect. You've actually got a broad base from which to grow. But the biggest credit market in both the UK and Isle of Man is mortgages. We weren't even in that market. So we've entered that market because we can see that the current economy is, and big banks have a habit of doing this. When times are hard, they pull back, they make getting credit more difficult. That creates opportunities and counterparties we wouldn't normally see. So entering the mortgage market was a natural extension for us to actually enter that market, where it's a pretty safe time to do so. With regard to Ireland, I've already mentioned Payment Assist, which is the largest buy now, pay later business in the automotive industry in the UK. It just seems sensible when you look at Ireland. If you're going to enter into Europe, then the Irish economy is the right one for us to go into. The rule of law is roughly the same, language is the same. Okay, there's some euros rather than sterling, but we have an FX business within the group, so that can deal with the translation problems. And the beauty is, if you get a consumer credit license in Ireland, you can passport that into any of the EU countries. The new insists that every EU country has a different consumer duty aspect, but that's absolutely fine, because the whole point of being a responsible lender is you don't see these as being hurdles to access the customer. You actually see that as being a barrier to entry from rogue players to be able to compete against you.
You mentioned Payment Assist and the strong growth you're seeing there. How important is the buy now, pay later segment to Manx's future, particularly in today's lending environment?
Today's lending environment is a curious position. I mean, I keep repeating this in people I talk to. You can't actually understate the cost of living crisis. Okay, we're second, third year into it. That doesn't mean it's actually gone away and people are getting bored with it. People should be front and centre. There is a cost of living crisis in this country. Buy now, pay later allows people to spread the unexpected bill. If you take the example that I usually use, if you go in and take a car in for a service and you maybe need 4 new tyres, cost £1,000. Well, buy now, pay later allows you to spread that £5,000, but it's interest free, so it's actually not costing the consumer anything. What happens is the garage takes a discount on the bill to get the money up front, and that discount is the yield that Payment Assist gets. So it's a really good product for the customer, for ourselves and for the garage, in terms of it certainly takes away any credit risk from the garage. What I also see in Buy Now, Pay Later is the UK government is quite rightly going to regulate that market. Payment Assist is already regulated by the FCA, so we are actually welcoming this increase in regulation coming through.
Douglas, with a strong return on equity and increased dividend payout, how are you balancing reinvestment for growth with delivering shareholder returns?
We consistently pay back 10% of profits to our shareholders. So as profits grow, the increase in dividend to our shareholders grow. And I think that's the fair way of doing it. We have got no interest in doing share buybacks, etc., simply because at this point in time we're a growing business and growth requires capital. If we weren't growing, then you would actually be buying back. But we're not in that negative position. We're still accelerating the business, and we can see real good distribution and opportunity going forward.
Well, after that record 2024 year, how's 2025 panning out so far?
Obviously, I can't say too much with MER, but we did announce in January that we acquired a wealth management company. I was looking for a wealth management company that was FCA regulated but had a very lightly used license. So we found one, and now we're looking for the variation of permissions to put in a general insurance capability within that business. If I step back slightly, Payment Assist has got about 1 million unique customers. It's got 7,000 garages on its roster. If you take those 7,000 garages, every one of them needs PI insurance, it needs employee insurance, content insurance, building insurance, vehicle insurance, shareholder insurance. If we can wrap all that up into one, and say to the guys, we're making your life easier. This is admin. We'll make admin easier so you can focus in on the front end, which is where you're generating your money. And indeed, recognising the cost of living type crisis, then we'll put some form of premium finance in there, so we're spreading the payments over the life of the actual asset. So that's where I see 25 being a real opportunity for us. Also, by summer 25, touch wood, we will have the Irish Bank, the Irish Consumer Credit Licence in place, so that allows us to roll out that business. It's a great company name. We managed to get Buy Now, Pay Later Limited, which I just assumed would be gone, and the web address is bnpl.ie, so it's going to be really strong, and we're going to put into that a trading name called Drive Now, Pay Later, because we're going to focus in on garages in the first instance in that Irish market. So we've got a lot going on in 2025. Plus, obviously, we've got organic growth.
That's a great story, Douglas. Thank you very much for coming in. I hope you'll keep us updated on your progress.
I'd love to come back and talk about 26.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Douglas Grant, the CEO of Manx Financial Group.